A comprehensive overview of the Russo-Ukrainian War, 2014-present. The conflict between Russia and Ukraine is often cited as beginning on February 24, 2022, with Russia's full-scale invasion. However, this event was a major escalation of a war that had been ongoing since February 2014. Part 1. The Prelude and Origins, 2014-2022. The roots of the 2022 invasion lie in the events of 2014. February 2014, Revolution of Dignity, Euromaidan. Following months of pro-European protests, Ukrainian President Viktor Yanukovych, who was pro-Russian, fled the country. Russia viewed this as a Western-backed coup that threatened its interests and security. February-March 2014, annexation of Crimea. In the ensuing power vacuum, Russia deployed troops without insignia, or little green men, to seize control of Ukraine's Crimean peninsula. It then organized a widely condemned referendum and formally annexed the territory, claiming it was protecting ethnic Russians. April 2014, war in the Donbass. Russian-backed separatist forces began seizing territory in Ukraine's eastern Donbass region, specifically in the provinces or oblasts of Donetsk and Luhansk. They declared the Donetsk People's Republic, or DNR, and Luhansk People's Republic, or LNR. This ignited an 8-year war between the Ukrainian military and these Russian-backed forces, resulting in over 14,000 deaths before the 2022 invasion. 2015, Minsk II agreements. A peace deal was signed to stop the fighting in the Donbass. However, its implementation failed. Ukraine and Russia accused each other of violating the terms, and the conflict settled into a frozen, though still active, state of trench warfare. Part 2. The Full-Scale Invasion, 2022. On February 24, 2022, Russian President Vladimir Putin announced a special military operation, marking the start of a full-scale invasion. Stated goals. Russia's declared aims were the demilitarization and denazification of Ukraine, preventing Ukraine from joining NATO, and liberating the Russian-speaking populations. Initial assault, Phase 1, February to April 2022. Russia attacked on multiple fronts. North, a primary thrust from Belarus towards the capital, Kyiv, aiming for a rapid blitzkrieg to decapitate the government. Northeast, an offensive towards Kharkiv, Ukraine's second-largest city. East, a major push to seize the entirety of the Donbass. South, an advance from Crimea, which successfully captured the city of Kherson and began the brutal siege of Mariupol. Failure of Phase 1. The assault on Kyiv failed spectacularly. Fierce Ukrainian resistance, logistical failures, and low morale among Russian troops led to their full retreat from the Kyiv region by early April 2022. This failure exposed the flaws in Russia's military planning.
Part 3. Shifting Fronts and Counteroffensives, mid-2022 to 2023. After its initial failure, Russia redefined its goal to liberating the Donbass. Battle for the Donbass, Spring-Summer 2022. This phase was defined by brutal, grinding artillery warfare. May 2022. Russia captured the port city of Mariupol after a devastating siege that leveled the city and ended with the surrender of the Azovstal steel plant defenders. June-July 2022. Russia captured the cities of Severodonetsk and Lysychansk. Ukrainian counteroffensives. Late 2022, Ukraine, now armed with advanced Western weapons like HIMARS, launched 2 major counteroffensives. September 2022, Kharkiv. A surprise offensive in the northeast liberated thousands of square kilometers and key cities like Izyum and Kupiansk, marking a major defeat for Russia.
November 2022, Kherson. Ukrainian forces liberated the city of Kherson, the only regional capital Russia had managed to capture since the full-scale invasion. Russian escalation, late 2022. September 2022, Putin announced a partial mobilization, drafting hundreds of thousands of new soldiers. September 2022, Russia held sham referendums and illegally annexed 4 Ukrainian regions, Donetsk, Luhansk, Kherson, and Zaporizhia, none of which it fully controlled. Winter 2022 to 2023, Russia began a systematic missile and drone campaign targeting Ukraine's civilian energy infrastructure, causing widespread blackouts. The 2023 stalemate. Battle of Bakhmut ends May 2023, the longest and bloodiest battle of the war. Russia, primarily using Wagner Group mercenaries, captured the destroyed city at an immense cost in casualties. June 2023, the Kakhovka Dam in the Kherson region was destroyed, causing a catastrophic flood. June 2023, Ukrainian counteroffensive. Ukraine launched its long-awaited summer counteroffensive, focusing on the south, Zaporizhia. It failed to achieve a breakthrough against Russia's deep and extensive Surovikin line of fortifications. June 2023, Wagner mutiny. Wagner chief Yevgeny Prigozhin launched a brief, aborted mutiny, marching on Moscow. This was the most significant challenge to Putin's rule in decades. Prigozhin was killed in a plane crash 2 months later. Part 4. War of Attrition, 2024 to November 2025. The conflict has since evolved into a protracted war of attrition, resembling World War I trench warfare, characterized by heavy drone use, artillery duels, and high casualties for minimal territorial gain. Developments in 2024. February 2024. Russia captured the city of Avdiivka in the Donbass after a long and costly assault. Spring-summer 2024. Russia launched a new offensive in Kharkiv region, forcing Ukraine to divert resources but failing to take the city. Throughout 2024-2025, Ukraine has waged a campaign of deep strikes using long-range drones, targeting Russian military bases, oil refineries, and naval assets in the Black Sea. These strikes have proven effective, particularly against Russia's Black Sea Fleet. Current situation, November 2025. The front line, over 1,000 kilometers long, is largely static but intensely violent. Russia continues to slowly advance in parts of the Donbass, leveraging its advantage in manpower and ammunition, partially supplied by North Korea. Ukraine is focused on defense, managing ammunition shortages, and integrating new Western aid, including F-16 fighter jets, which have begun limited operations. Peace negotiations are non-existent. Ukraine's position is that peace requires the full withdrawal of Russian troops. Russia demands that Ukraine accept the new territorial realities, that is, its annexations.
Impacts on Ukraine. The war has been an existential catastrophe for Ukraine. Human and social impact. Casualties. Tens of thousands of civilians have been killed. Military casualties, both killed and wounded, are estimated in the hundreds of thousands, though exact figures are a state secret. Displacement. Over 6.5 million Ukrainians are registered as refugees globally, and another 3.7 million are internally displaced, IDPs, within the country. War crimes. Widespread evidence of Russian war crimes, including the Bucha massacre, summary executions, systematic torture, and the forced deportation of Ukrainian children to Russia. National identity. The war has profoundly solidified and unified Ukrainian national identity, language, and its pro-Western, pro-European orientation. Economic impact. Destruction. The economy has been devastated. In 2022 alone, GDP fell by over 30%. Infrastructure. Russia has destroyed an estimated $500 billion to $1 trillion worth of infrastructure: homes, hospitals, schools, energy grids, ports. Dependency. The entire state budget is now dependent on Western financial aid to pay for pensions, salaries, and basic services. All domestic revenue goes to the war effort. Agriculture. Its vital agricultural sector has been crippled by mined fields and Russia's blockade and later attacks on its Black Sea ports, which are critical for grain exports. Impacts on Russia. The war has dramatically reshaped Russia, though the daily impact on civilians outside the border regions is less visible than in Ukraine. Military impact. Casualties. Russia has suffered staggering military casualties, killed and wounded, estimated by Western intelligence to be well over 400,000. Equipment losses. It has lost thousands of tanks, armored vehicles, and aircraft, forcing it to pull 50-year-old hardware from storage and rely on allies like North Korea and Iran for munitions and drones. Military reputation. The reputation of the Russian military as a modern, effective force has been shattered. Economic impact. Sanctions. Russia is the most sanctioned country in history. It has been cut off from Western finance, technology, and markets. War economy. The economy has successfully transitioned to a war footing. Massive state spending on military production, tanks, shells, missiles, has created a short-term economic boom and low unemployment. Long-term problems. This model is unsustainable. The economy faces severe labor shortages, high inflation, technological stagnation, and a brain drain of over 1 million skilled professionals who have fled the country. It has become a resource-dependent vassal to China. Social and political impact. Totalitarianism. The war has enabled the state to crush all internal dissent. Opposition leader Alexei Navalny died in an Arctic prison, February 24, 2024. Independent media has been eliminated, and any criticism of the war is met with long prison sentences. Militarization of society. A nationalist, anti-Western ideology is now aggressively promoted in schools and state media. Geopolitical isolation. While solidifying ties with China, Iran, and North Korea, Russia has become a pariah state to the West, and its soft power has evaporated globally.